As Jim Morrisino once said here, playoffs, absolutely. The playoffs start today in the association, and we got some spread lines you need to get down with. Now, the first game we're going to talk about is a game that 90% of the country won't be able to watch because they placed a play-in playoff game at 10 p.m. Congratulations, NBA. Your goal to tank ratings, it's certainly going over in DRS's household here. The Trailblazers going to take on the Suns. The favorite in this game, Joe, opening was the Phoenix Suns at -4. But today on game day, we're seeing -3.5 across the board and a low total, which opened up at 217, which is already low. Take a look at 216.5 now on the graphic. The Phoenix Suns at home taking on the Trailblazers, Joe. What's the spread line for this one?
Well, I mean, it doesn't shock me. It's the lowest total on the board, Donnie. It's the lowest total for a reason. It did open up closer to the 220 mark and then immediately kept getting betting down because, listen, it's styles make fights here, right? The Trailblazers are, over the last couple of weeks, and I give them credit, they feel like they're playing with house money, Donnie. They really do here. I mean, Phoenix was the better team throughout the season, although 5 of the last 16 games is what they won down the stretch. Not good here at all. And, of course, Portland actually ramped it up to be able to get to this spot. But Phoenix is going to want to turn this thing into a rock fight here. That's how they like to play. And Portland is going to want to turn up the heat a little bit and get out in transition. Both teams can play some defense, Donnie. There's no doubt about it. But if you're going to say who's going to win it, well, who's going to win it is the team that dictates tempo here. And if Phoenix does that, then Phoenix is going to win and likely cover this game in a very low-scoring affair here. But if Portland has their way and they can get it up-tempo and get out in transition, Portland very much could punch their ticket into the postseason. I think it's the best game on the board here in the play-in.
West Coast, Western action here, Western Conference. Let's flip it over to Wednesday night here, Joe. Another West Coast action game, which will be Battle of Golden State. And once again, you'll enjoy that out there in the Pacific time zone, but nobody else will be able to watch this game. Congratulations once again, NBA, for waiting a game till 10 p.m. in the evening here. It's the Warriors and the Clippers, though, Joe. Opening this line, -5 is a favorite towards the Clippers. We just told you that there's going to be a minutes restriction in this game for Steph Curry. A 5-point favorite still sits at most outlets as a 5-point favorite and a total of 220.5. The favorite Clippers at home in the battle of the Golden State with the Warriors. What's your spread line?
Yeah, well, this is the interesting one, Donnie, because how many minutes are you getting from A, Steph Curry, and B, Porzingis, and it's not like they've had a ton of time to play with one another throughout the season, Donnie, because they were always hurt and never on the court outside of the last couple of games there, and it did not look good at all. Looks like Kawhi Leonard is finally good to go here, 100% heading into the postseason, but what we've seen down the stretch is somebody else has got to step up for Kawhi Leonard. Where is Darius Garland? Where is Dunn? Where is somebody else has to step up as well? It just can't be Kawhi Leonard because that's maybe good enough to get past the Warriors. It's not going to be good enough to do anything else beyond that. So I do think Kawhi and Garland and company, I think it's a good matchup for the Clippers. They've owned the Warriors over the last couple of years, so it doesn't shock me that this was, an open of 3.5, and now we're looking at, 5? Doesn't shock me that it's all Clipper money at this point.
Come on, hour number 2 of the early line. Fun times just beginning here. George Kurtz joined us here. And now, Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri welcoming Kevin Walsh to the early line, his favorite show of the day, the only show of the day that matters to Kevin, right? Right. Thank you for that. Yeah. Yes. Used to be here.
On a day. There we go. Like the Undertaker. Drop the lights, baby.
There you go. Dun, 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 dun. Now, we got to talk about some NBA action because we got the playoffs starting tonight with the play-in rounds. You got 2 games tonight, Kevin, 2 games tomorrow. So you know what I do? I take a look and go, you know what? I tune in the Heat Hornets. I tune in to the Magic and the 76ers. 90% of the country won't be able to tune in because 2 games are starting at 10 p.m. East. Kevin, does the NBA, is there something in writing that goes, we must tank our ratings because it's for the good of the league. Make it make sense. We can't have 7 and 9:30, Kevin. We can't have 6:30 and maybe 9 o'clock. We can't do any of that stuff.
This can't be your.
It is.
Like, I understand.
Ludicrous.
But Donnie, like, there are spots where you do this and it tracks. The NBA play-in is not one of those spots. Like
does the NFL start a playoff game at 10 o'clock? Do they? No.
Yeah, no, they don't, Donnie. But the NFL doesn't have as many playoff games as the NBA. And also, I got to say, this is maybe the nicest thing I could have ever expected you to say about Phoenix and Portland, is you kind of being upset that it's not on Earth. Donnie, they could play this game in your backyard. I'm not sure you're watching Suns Blazers.
I don't know. I might be tuning in because these rounds, Kevin, get us the Patrick Beverly, throwing jerseys into the crowds and celebrations. These are the big games here tonight. That's what I'm looking forward to. But we do have 2 games tonight. Heat Hornets, Trailblazers Suns. What would surprise you tonight, or what do you like tonight?
Well, I would be surprised if Miami won because a lot of it is them. But Charlotte also is in a very interesting spot. I think if you look across the play-in, and the team, if they didn't make the playoffs, the most disappointing would be Phoenix, because they're a 7 seed that have to lose 2 in a row at home. They've been in the playoffs the entire season. I think Charlotte is second. I think it'd be more disappointing for Charlotte, Donnie, than your 76ers. With the resurgence that this team has had, with the way they're priced in these games, I don't know if you guys agree. I think Charlotte would be booked as favorites at Philly or at Orlando, quite frankly. Definitely at Philly, in my opinion, for the second game of the play-in here. So for Charlotte, it's a gotta-have-it spot. What also just stands out to me a little bit is that total. And are we starting to get the playoff totals a little bit here? Because you know it, Joe, Miami numbers, those things usually start with, 230s or higher. We're seeing, 228.5 tonight in a Heat game.
It's 2 opposites, right? So you have one of the highest totals there in Miami and Charlotte, and lowest total there coming up with Portland and Phoenix. And, listen, Phoenix is not going to want to make that a track meet. It feels like Portland's playing with house money in this game here, and they have been over the last couple of weeks. But if we're being honest, Phoenix has not been good down the stretch here. It has not been a good run for them. Can you just flip a switch if you're Phoenix? Because the market, all I'm seeing is Portland money coming in.
Yeah, and at first glance, I was like, Phoenix home, right? Devin Booker. Your point, Devin's scoring 30 every game. They're still not winning. And Portland, recently, the losses are like at San Antonio and at Denver. Other than that, they're just playing really good basketball here. I don't think there's any level of discount on Phoenix. I think them being booked as favorites at home in a play-in situation tracks. But, Joe, the more I looked at this game, I would agree with kind of how you laid it out, that Portland's starting to feel like the side here late night in the desert.
By the way, Kevin, I'm going to put my doctor hat on right now because we're looking forward to after these play-in rounds happen and the real playoffs get underway, which will include the Los Angeles Lakers. But the question, who's going to be actually playing for the Lakers? We know LeBron James is going to be there. Austin Reeves will be watching, but now I'm hearing that, like, hey, you know what? Here's all you do. Like, I'm Luka. I tore my hamstring. Usually it takes a month. Well, let me just disappear over to Europe, and looks like I get a couple injections and I'm healed all the way. We had a story coming up today for Christian Yelich, who's, hey, I tweaked my hammy a little bit. Yeah, he's down for a full month, as we know. Luka Doncic expecting to come back and play in round number 1. Come on now. We've been down this path before.
The only thing is, it's such a delay, Donnie, that it might be possible. Maybe you don't think so, but the Luka injury was on the 2nd of April. Now, this series will begin on the 18th. So game 3 of this series will be, at minimum, 3 weeks removed from the injury. I've watched Mike Evans rush back quicker than that, right? Like, 3 weeks is a legitimate amount of time in between. I don't think it's a guarantee that Luka plays. I do think someone told some guy in a sports book, an odds maker in a room, yeah, by the way, Luka Doncic retired. Because they have been pricing the Lakers as if Luka's never, ever, ever coming back. And I think if there's some inclination in that room for the Lakers, like, you just need to keep the series afloat. You don't get swept. Luka will be back by Game 5. Game 5 might be in May. I mean, it's the NBA playoffs. What if he gets a month off?
That is true, though. The first round of the NBA playoffs, like one game every 4 days. So he might have the ability to get readjusted as he comes back. But he will get cooked on defense with that hammy. Talking about getting cooked yesterday.
As opposed to when he doesn't get cooked on defense?
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that was right.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Just going to, pick and roll is here left and right to get that guy isolated up. Just like Joel Embiid and the boys pointing down to Nikola Jokic. Don't let him sit down on that bench here in the All-Star game. Bring him back out here. Let me cook him one more time.
Yeah.
The man, Joe Ranieri, was not able to sit on the bench because everybody wanted to take their chance cooking this man. Kevin Walsh will be cooking tonight. Game Time Decisions. Check him out 6 p.m. Eastern right here on the SportsGrid Network. Thanks, Kevin. Playoffs. Well, at least the play-ins are tonight here. The real playoffs, as we like to say, going to start this weekend here, and away we go. But at SportsGrid, we asked the question today, which side are you rocking with in tonight's play-in matchups? You can take the Heat, the Hornets, the Trailblazers, or the Suns, all on the line, Joe. Pretty even distribution here, which looks like nobody really wants the Trailblazers tonight. Tough scene.
Which is odd, Donnie, because historically in these play-in games, which haven't been around forever, but it's usually a team like Portland that has been kind of money in these spots here. So, I mean, call me crazy. I think there's an opportunity here as a outright dog winner, and that being with the Portland Trailblazers tonight.
There you go. An outright winner. See what happens playing games. Some teams are going to go home. Some teams will advance to get into the top 8, and away you go. Here's some best bets you want to need to get. Bye right now. Starting your week out, new week, new monies, we like to say, on a Monday. So the boys came out and took 2 baseball games and swept the card, people. Tonight, 2 more bets on deck for a chance to go 4-0 to start the work week here. What do we got, Joe? Where are we going?
Well, we'll go to the association here tonight, Donnie, and Miami and Charlotte. And like I admit, there is no way I am sweating out an under with this Miami Heat team here. And here's why. They changed their style, Donnie. They are an up-tempo, try to get as many shots as you possibly can team. And while they were one of the best defensive teams in the first half of the season, I've watched this team basically run out of gas. You can't play at that tempo and then have the same energy and effort on the defensive side, and that's what cost them down the stretch. They don't have anything left in the tank, so they are going to concentrate on scoring, and scoring. No defense for me, Donnie. This thing is going to go flying over the total, not to mention Charlotte takes more threes than any other team that we're going to see here. Expect this one to go flying over that total.
Prediction Markets Edge right here on the early line on a Tuesday. SportsGrid Network, we got you for a half hour, a different way to invest your money, and a lot of good games to look at, Joe, which does include a little NBA playoff action. How about that?
I am excited, Donnie, to say the least, because I think these games are going to deliver. Usually some people, these games like tonight or even tomorrow in the play-in, some people are like, I think there's going to be some excitement. Don't forget, Miami was a 10 seed last year and managed to win a couple of games for the first time. So anything is possible, I think, once you get to this time of year.
Can Tyler be a hero? Those are the questions that we're going to ask, and much more in these play-in rounds, which includes tonight, late night out in Phoenix. Portland in town to take on the Phoenix Suns, Joe. And we currently take a look. Phoenix trading as the favorite at a 59% chance to win this basketball game outright. Portland, the underdog, at 41 cents. $100 investment on the underdog tonight. Portland Trailblazers, if they win, Joe, would pay back $244. Phoenix on the spread line, -2.5 as a favorite, currently trading at 53%. Portland and Phoenix tonight, Joe. Round number 1 here, late night in this early form tournament here to get to the actual real tournament, Joe. How about that?
And we have seen nothing but Portland money in the market here so far, Donnie, which I think is fascinating. But it shouldn't be because, listen, the Suns have been terrible down the stretch this season. And in many aspects, nobody thought we would see, certainly in the prediction markets, Donnie, nobody was running to Kalshi or Polymarket and being like, oh, give me the Suns in Portland to make the playoffs back in November. Like, we just thought this was going to be one of those transition years, certainly for Phoenix. And what happens? Well, they played pretty darn well here. But if current form has anything or any say in this, I mean, don't forget, Donnie, this is not one of these either win or you're out games here, because whoever loses this is still going to have an opportunity to make it into the postseason. I like the better team right now in better form. I think it's Portland. I think there's an opportunity here for them not only to win this game, but advance, and maybe, who knows, playing with house money with a team that has nothing to lose, Donnie, is usually how you can make some money this time of year.
Take a look, also having some fun in those player prop markets that you can do here on the prediction markets. You take a look at Dylan Brooks. They can get 20 points tonight. It's plus money tonight. $100 investment pays back $228. So if you're looking away from Devin Booker, maybe you pick up a little Dylan Brooks and away you go. Let's take a look at a game that's going to take place tomorrow night in the Golden State, which features Golden State taking on the Los Angeles Clippers. The favorite in this game is the Clippers, Joe, currently trading at a 65% chance to win this game. Golden State, the underdog, at 35%. If you feel the Clippers can win this game by 4.5 points or more, which means a 5-point victory, a $100 investment pays back $182. Golden State, minutes restriction for the superstar Steph Curry on the road to take on the Clippers.
Yeah, and this is, we know the record is not good. 10 seeds, Donnie, I think are 1-9 in making it to the playoffs here. Miami was the first team again as a 10 seed to actually win both games and make it into the playoffs. It's not a good spot to be in, and it makes sense, right? You can't be the 10 seed. You're a 10 seed for a reason, and we already know what that reason is for Golden State. But I don't think that's going to stop Kawhi Leonard from getting his. I think Garland is going to get his tonight. If you like the Clippers, those are the two guys where the offense is coming from here tonight, and those are the two guys that I would zero in on. Give me Kawhi Leonard points and give me Garland points, along with maybe a few assists as well.
Taking a look at that game, Joe, which will be tomorrow night's game at 10 o'clock. 2 games at 10 o'clock, 2 games at 7:30. But understand this, too. There are event props for this on the Kalshi Marketplace. Steph Curry is coming back from what? A knee injury here. Well, if you want to win a quick $3, Joe, you need to invest $100 in the announcer saying injury or injured during the telecast. That'll pay back $3 right there. You can buy a half of a Starbucks cup of coffee. Way to go, people. Prediction Markets Edge right here on the early line, Donnie right side. And Joe Ranieri, NBA action has got us caught up in the moment. Why? Because the playing games are starting tonight. The playoffs just a few days away. And away we go and to try to crown who's going to win that Larry O'Brien trophy. So let's start with the Eastern Conference here and figure out, Joe, who might be a conference finals matchup. The favorite right now is Cleveland. Wait, hold on a second here. The finals matchup here that's leading the race, Joe, is Cleveland versus Atlanta. Who is infiltrating this market right now, Joe?
I have no idea. I mean, I thought you're talking about the Eastern Conference Finals? The Eastern Conference Finals here is going to be Boston and Cleveland. I don't know what people are talking about here. It's going to be Boston and Cleveland here at 34 cents, I think is what it's trading now. And both of these teams have very clear paths in order to do it. I mean, the Cavs, you open up against Toronto, and we know Toronto is the worst Eastern Conference playoff team outside of the play-in teams here. But the reality is Boston's going to have no issues, I think, rolling right into the final. And I think you got to buy into Cleveland with that backcourt. I mean, Harden and Mitchell have been here and done this. These guys elevate their games and everybody around them in the postseason. Doesn't mean they'll beat Boston, but I don't need them to I just need them to get there, Donnie, for this, and I think they will.
I think people like to mess around sometimes with like the programmers here because it is listed at 39%, but you are not allowed, Joe, to bet the no on Cleveland and Atlanta being the Eastern Conference Finals matchup. Why? Because everybody would do that. The favorite should be Boston versus Cleveland, Detroit versus Boston in that order here. We'll see as they get their playoffs started a little bit later in the week here. How about the Pro Basketball Finals matchup here on the Kalshi Marketplace? The favorite right now is OKC versus Boston. The second favorite here is San Antonio versus Boston. So it looks like the betting public is telling you, give me Boston over Detroit.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think Denver is the team that's going to represent the West. And if you want to keep it chalky in the East, I get Boston. It makes sense because they are firing on all cylinders. As long as they can remain healthy with Jaylen Brown, I think they'll be fine. They will be there representing the East once again. But I think Denver is where the value is because this market, again, Donnie, is one of those spots where I just need Denver to get to the Western Conference Finals. And boy, oh boy, will this, and Boston for that matter, to the Eastern Conference Finals. And this market, we will see a repricing and profits. And that is how you approach the prediction markets. Get in early. You don't need it to happen this way. You just need it to almost happen this way and let the market reprice itself.
How about this one here? Denver and Philadelphia actually has a listed chance of 11.6% to be the finals here.
Wow.
And also, that's trading at basically a half of a penny, which means a $100 investment would pay back $20,000. It's interesting where some of these numbers come from and how you can actually approach those. But that would be incredible. That would mean the Sixers won a couple rounds and Joel Embiid came back, rested and ready. Probably not going to happen. But then again, $100 investment will pay back $20,000. NBA, Joe, Rookie of the Year. Two college teammates here going toe-to-toe at the end. It's Con Knipple and it's Cooper Flagg. And on Poly Market, Con Knipple is the favorite at 49% right now, followed by Cooper Flagg at 45%. How about that? Mixing and matching over the past couple weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, one shoots the three, one's got the all-around game. I mean, the future is bright no matter what. I'm still trying to figure out how I had over 34.5 Cooper Flagg points in that final game against Chicago, and he would have been well on his way to another 50-burger and securing that that title there of Rookie of the Year. And then he rolls his ankle early on in that game with 10 points, and that was the end of that. But I still think Cooper Flagg has done enough to be able to secure that the Rookie of the Year award.
By the way, on Poly Market, $869,000 invested into Con Knipple, $599,000 invested into Cooper Flagg. So the people have spoken and believe it could be Con Knipple there. How about the NBA Coach of the Year on Poly Market? $1.3 million has been invested into this market, with the favorite right now at 84% is Joe Mazzulla. But the most money, Joe, is on JB Bickerstaff at $313,000, but he's only trading currently at a 14% chance to win the NBA Coach of the Year.
Oh, it's Doc Rivers, hands down. I mean, nobody destroys a franchise like Doc Rivers does. So, yeah, I think the guys that did the best tank job should be the Utah coach. Hardy should be there. I think those guys got to get consideration for Coach of the Year because they literally, with a straight face, told us how they weren't trying to lose games when they wouldn't play any of their starters in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, that's the route I would go there, Donnie.
By the way, this has been running for the past year here on Poly Market. And did you know that $29,000 has been invested in Doc Rivers being the Coach of the Year? And if it still holds up, it's trading at 0.1%, which means a $100 investment on Doc Rivers to win Coach of the Year would pay back $29,000.
Love it.
You want to waste your money? Sign up and do it. Here's the one that we like as well, Joe. How about this topic on Poly Market? The NBA to pass Luka Doncic's Extraordinary Circumstances Challenge. It's listed here currently at 73%, which means Luka cries, it's not fair, I was a game or two away, I hurt my hamstring, help me in. It's actually trading at 73% chance that's going to pass. You can't let that pass. If anything, you change the rules for next year. You can't go back and change the rules for this year. Come on.
No, I don't think you can, Donnie, but that's not going to stop them from trying. And again, I think the more you hear about it, the better the no value is going to get, because more and more people are going to keep running to the window and backing the yes here. So I kind of like the no value here.
Prediction Markets Edge right here on the early line. Donnie right side and Joe Ranieri talking some NBA heavy topics. Why? Because the playoffs, at least the play-in rounds, do start tonight and tomorrow before we get to the real deal and the big boys come to play. The only question, though, on my mind is, how far can the Los Angeles Lakers go this spring if LeBron James is the only healthy superstar they have in the lineup? Which brings me to my next question, Joe, on Kalshi. LeBron James' next team. Is it going to be stay with Los Angeles or retires? It's currently the favorite at 42%. Is it going to be Cleveland going home? Cleveland, this is for you. 36%. Or how about this? He goes to the San Antonio Spurs to play with Wemby at 9%. But, Joe, the favorite is the Lakers and or retires for next year.
All right, so this is what the folks need to understand here. This is what we call an information narrative market, and that matters here. And it does, because the outcome isn't random, folks. It's not like a game. You're not betting whether the over or the under a hit or what side. The outcome isn't random. It's decision-based, and it comes from an insider having knowledge or insiders having knowledge, which drives the market. The only person who knows the answer to this is LeBron and his immediate circle, because he controls what happens here. So where is Bronny playing next year? That would be my next question, Donnie, because wherever Bronny is, if LeBron's coming back, it's likely with Bronny. So if Bronny stays in L.A., guess what? LeBron's probably staying in L.A. here. But if Bronny's on another team, likely so will LeBron James.
I do remember when LeBron James was thought that he might be leaving Miami. Where might he go? Where all it took was a postal office worker that say, LeBron James' wife came down here and changed the mailing address from here back to Cleveland, and that set off a firestorm. We just need that inside info, Joe, as you said, from the interworkings of, hey, somebody's booking a plane flight to this place, and maybe it happens at that point. Also, we talk about LeBron James. Where is he going? How about Giannis Antetokounmpo on the Poly Market site? Denver Nuggets, 87%. Houston Rockets, 45%. Hawks, 43%. So we have a robust market here. But as I slide down, let's say to myself, where is the actual current team at, Joe? Milwaukee, 76 cents. It's trading at $100 investment, $129 back if he stays in the Cream City.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, this is same type of thing, very decision and narrative oriented here, where Giannis may not control it, unlike LeBron, right? LeBron is going to be a free agent. He can sign wherever he wants to sign. Giannis, he's under contract, so he's got one more guaranteed year. So the question is, will Milwaukee pull the trigger? And if he does, where is he going to go? Now, listen, Donnie, the likely outcome is back to the Bucks because he's under contract. But I'm still going to say Heat or Knicks here. I think both of those teams will adjust to get Giannis on the court wearing their uniform. I think that's not a bad look here because they have the assets to do it.
Look, since their championship here, they tried everything to make it work around Giannis. If nothing has worked, so maybe the only thing that could possibly work, him actually leaving town. How about Zion's next team here? Pelican superstar. He is a star. He's just not on the court all that much, but did make some strides this year. But if you are a GM in the NBA and you're giving up major assets to Zion, you're looking probably getting yourself fired over the next 1 to 2 years. But the favorite is him staying in New Orleans or retiring. That's at 57%, Joe.
Listen, I could not have been more impressed this year with Zion, actually, the effort and the amount of games that he... Believe it or not, in a year we're all screaming about 65 games. It's hilarious how many Zion actually played in this year and stayed healthy. And I think he comes back to New Orleans. And the simple reason is DeJounte Murray. I mean, when that team was healthy at the end of the year, Donnie, that's a legit team. That's a team that can do some damage, and I think Zion's going to be very much a part of that. If they all stay, I like New Orleans' chances next year to do some damage.
How about Ja Morant? Get ready for him to be moving on to his next team. We told you, basically got kicked out of those last day interviews here, cleaning up your locker. Miami, Joe, the trading favorite at the Kalshi Marketplace at 29%. Ja in South Beach? I don't know if that's a match made in heaven.
No, yeah. The idea that Pat Riley and Ja Morant can coexist in any universe is hilarious. That would be a no on Miami for me. Is jail an option, Donnie? Is that is that on? No, is it for the prison league? Because no, I don't think he's going to be out of the league, but it's not going to be a place he wants to have any part of. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Washington,
a little
maybe?
bit of a powder keg down. Yeah, Washington maybe going back. Hey, by the way, Washington, if he goes back, Washington, would they change back to the Bullets here for Ja? How about that? Ooh, how about that joke? End the show here.